We're going to start where we left off last week. Was really the end of page 1 in lesson plan 4. You might be able to find a lesson plan 4. I'm sure they're all gone because I made 25, and it looks to me like we're pushing 25. But perhaps you could share with somebody, or once in a while take a look at the book. But I'm going to follow what's here so you can get along pretty well. Anyway, we ended up last week saying, don't let the dealer off the hook. The dealer has a huge pegging advantage. So don't let the dealer off the hook when you have the chance. If you got a lone 3 and a lone 9, lead the 3. So if the dealer pairs it, you got a chance for the triple for 6, or you got the 9 for 15. 4, same. There are times, and we'll get into that in offensive pegging, where you would want to lead the larger card and keep the smaller ones. But as a rule, where you have that going, you would play the cards that way. I mentioned a 3-3-5 jack down here, only to demonstrate a point. Some folks get hung up in Lynn Culver's book. He's got a section on magic 11s. And he doesn't tell you that there's a big difference in how these things work, whether you're dealing the cards or whether you're the opponent without the crib. For instance, 2 card 11s, and we're going to go through a large number of these before the night's out, a 3-8, a 2-9, even a 1-10 sometimes, that's the weakest of the bunch, 5-6, 4-7. Those all have a value for the dealer, especially if there's any 10-point cards in play. Now, they might not be worth a whole lot if there's middle cards or small cards, but they're 38-40% of the time people are playing face cards with a 5, double run of face cards, or a 5 with face cards. So quite frequently, you can, if you're dealing, you can make the 7-4 work for a 31 for 2. But making the count 17 on the 10-point lead. You all visualize that, or 18 if you got the 3, or 19 if you got the 2. You probably won't want to play the 9 too often after seeing a jack, but very good. And sometimes the 2 pegs for you, board position we're going to get to, sometimes the 2 pegs for you by playing the 9 on the jack is more important than the 3 you're giving up. Board position is a big factor, and we're going to talk about offensive pegging and defensive pegging and how sometimes you play a card that you hope the dealer will take advantage of, because you're going to get 2 points out of it, and 2 will put you in better shape than what it is you're giving up to your opponent. So 3-3-5, let's say you have the lead and you've got these cards. 3-3-5 jack. 3-3-5 jack. There's a couple ways to play this, but the idea is, what do these 3 cards here equal? 11. Not 2 cards that make 11, but 3. You'll find this also would work with a 7-2-2, a 9-1-1. You see where we're headed? If you got the lead, you lead the 3. Most players will not put the 5 on it. They'll make the count 13 when holding face cards. And then you have a choice there on that play. I happen to like to show them 2 3s. But the idea is to get the count to 28 so you can, or 26, either way, so you can score 31. So one small advantage, well, it's a major advantage often. If you show your opponent 2 of the cards that are identically like, 2 cards that are identically like, doesn't tell them that much about your hand. Then if I were, for instance, if my first play was a 3, and my second play is a 3, I haven't revealed near as much about my hand as if I put the 3, and then my next play is a 4. See what I'm saying? You reveal a whole lot more of your hand if you don't show the same card the next time if you can. That's also the same argument we get into, and if you can't show the same card, then show the same suit. Because it looks like you might have a flush, and if you got a flush, then your 4 cards could be anything. But in this case, we play the 3 hoping we get a count of 13. No, this will work either way. Sometimes it's a very nice thing. They might put a jack on your 3. Go ahead and pair it. You see what that does? You play the 3. They put a jack on it for 13. You play another 3 for 16. They say 26. You say 31. Thank you. You've got 4 unanswered pegs. All they're going to get out of that playing sequence is a go. Anytime you can do that to the dealer, it is a terrific advantage to you. This is a rather simple one. You can play it another way too, and I want to show you that because it allows you to get rid. If you're worried this card's going to get hung up in a run, having just one 10-point card sometimes is pretty dangerous. You give up 4 points a whole lot of the time if you just got one. And of course the jack is a key connector. Okay? So you could play it this way. You could put 3. They put a queen or something on it. So you say 23 with the jack. You get rid of the jack. And if they got the 5, they say 28, you say 31. If they got a double run of face cards, you provide both the 5 and the 3 for 31. So there's 2 ways to play it. And I don't know. There are times when this one works very good, which I mentioned was playing both these cards. And there are other times you might not want to take the chance on giving up a run of 3 with this one.
But George, do a lot of people want to make it 26, just thinking you might have a 5? Wouldn't you do like a 3 and then a face card and then a 5 and then?
Well, if you play the 5, it's likely to get paired.
But they wouldn't want to pair if you were doing 18, 23, because then they wouldn't have an escape.
Well, it's sure for you the other way.
Yeah.
I'm going to pair your 5, especially if it's the second card dropped. Second card dropped is the safest card to pair in cribbage. So if you drop the 5 on the second card, you're going to get my 5 on it as a pair. And I think that screws up any plans you had for pegging. Yeah.
Don't you get people playing the 4 in there when you play, the 3s and 5 and all of a sudden they play the 4?
Very few people would play unless the dealer is really at a disadvantage. If the dealer is at a serious disadvantage, he might put a 4 on a 3 lead. But I can't think of no time else the dealer would ever do that. I mean, if the dealer has the advantage in a game, he's going to avoid pegs.
Well,
Yeah.
I was talking about, you've played the 2 3s. You played 1, the other guy played the other 3.
Doesn't
then
make-
one of you plays the 5, then the other guy drops the 4.
Well, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can get away. I mean, you got 2 3s on the table, and whatever they put on it, you can put the face card on it. So I mean, you're not trapped in any way. Actually, you have a lot of advantages with the dealer with this kind of a hand. And I think some of you are already playing the 2 deuces and a 7. You know that when you pick it up. In fact, there's sometimes a very good case for keeping 7 2 2 1 rather than keeping the face card with it. If you can throw a king 10 and play a 7 2 2 1, very often it'll work out. For the dealer, it's an automatic hold. Works very good. For the non-dealer, it works 12. You make 2, they make 12, you make 19, they make 29, you get 31 for 2. So I wouldn't suggest most of the time they just hold the cards for that reason, because pegging cards will not work all the time, So I wouldn't want you to throw away a good hand to hold a 7 2 2 1, but understand that there's pegging potential with the 7 deuce deuce or the 3 3 5. And this is true. These 3-card Magic 11s work for the dealer or the non-dealer. 2-card 11s work only for the dealer. If you're the non-dealer and you're playing a 3 and an 8, the chance of you scoring anything with it is very slim. The deuce and a 9. But as the dealer, those are good cards and close the count very often at 31. Okay. Any other questions?